I've been thinking a lot, the last year, because I've listened to a lot of podcasts and you need to find your why. What is your why? And I have no idea. But as long as I enjoying this everyday life, I guess it's good.
The goal isn't to live forever. The goal is to create something that will.
Welcome to Perspective, a podcast for wedding creatives, where we sit down often with a special guest and talk about our many years of experience in the wedding industry so that you can learn from us and grow your wedding business. Today, we're highlighting the award-winning talents of Stockholm-based Editorial wedding photographer Karin Lundin. Karin was a rangefinder rising star of 2020. I forget what year we're in. We are 2021 now. And it's clear that she deserves the accolade after looking at her very impressive portfolio. A portfolio that showcased her experience in editorial and press photography, which obviously was a career path that ultimately led her to her true passion of shooting weddings. We're going to be covering a whole host of topics, including what Karin focuses on during a wedding, creating and running a wedding business with a team, and also why you should consider outsourcing. Anyway, who is Karin? If you don't know, listen to this episode and find out. This is, of course, sponsored by With Jack and for a limited time by 210 Co, our co-working space in Glasgow. However, what are we drinking, Greg?
We are drinking some Gunner beans from Spitfire Espresso in Glasgow.
Oh, yeah, very good.
I went by on my way in, and it's a 50-50 blend of Colombia and Suarez.
Delicious. You've already brewed it up?
Be polite and pour yours first. So I'm not sure if you knew that about how mad about our coffee we are, but we love our coffee, so always do a what we drinking section. Do you have anything that you're drinking over there, Karin?
Oh yeah, I'm a tea drinker, so I have a chocolate tea. It's really nice.
A chocolate tea? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And who's that from? Who makes that?
I have no idea. It's like, you go to a store when there's a big bottle and you just take a scoop.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Listeners, there's a few changes to the podcast that I should maybe explain before we continue on. One, we're in a new studio space. And two, you can now see the studio space because now we're using a camera as well with it. A couple of gyms moved in next door, and the music was so loud in the old podcast room, we were forced to move. And Greg had a baby, so
we've had a bit of a break.
A wee bit of a forced break. We do apologise. And obviously, it's Christmas coming up, so there'll probably be another break. But we'll be back after Christmas, recording as regularly as we can. However, enough about that. Hello, Karin. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. I had like a really rough start this morning with a 4-year-old that, had her breakdowns and everything. But I'm sitting down, having my tea, and kind of trying to relax.
I was going to say, it seems very quiet in your house.
Yes, it is. It's just me and my cat.
Nice.
Nice. So what have you been up to?
Today or this year or forever?
Let's just say this year, because I mean, this year, last year, I feel like time has just escaped me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're the same, Greg.
Definitely with the newborn.
I genuinely don't know where I am half the time or who I am half the time. Yeah.
So this year and the past 2 years has been quite different for me. Not just because of Corona, but I think a bit because of Corona. But like last year, I was so near to hit the gigantic wall burnout.
Yep.
So I went to therapy for a year, and this summer I found out I have dyslexia that I had my whole life. So, this year has been all about, taking care of myself and finding out what my struggles have been and what my strengths are and how I can, cope with it.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the dyslexic gang. Greg's not in it, but I am. So high fives.
High five.
Yeah, I've had dyslexia for what feels like all my life.
When did you know?
Probably when I found reading not enjoyable. Yeah. That for me, that was my, the way that I discovered it, because everyone was describing how reading was, and I was just like, this is just too difficult for me. I mean, words weren't moving around, and dyslexia takes all sorts of forms, so it's quite an interesting and broad topic, but nothing moved around for me. I did go for the colored glasses at one point to help read, but it didn't really do anything. I just had to do a whole bunch of extra classes when I was schooling. And I was sent to a school that had a particularly good focus on, extra English and all these extra things that I would have to do to kind of overcome.
So that's like why I go to therapy a lot now, because not knowing you have been dyslexic for your whole life is a bit, okay, so I have struggled like a lot and didn't know why. I was so tired. So it's like I'm waking up right now and like, okay, I have this kind of new way to see things. Mm-hmm. It's nice.
Yeah. And how does yours kind of show up?
It's so hard to tell because I have it my whole life. So I don't know. I just know that I get tired, but I'm so good at masking it because I've done it my whole life, being like the good girl, or you want to say the typical good girl, doing everything so properly, and I don't know. But I think it's more about how I can see the strength from dyslexia, because when you have dyslexia, like the brain works in a different way and you're really good at seeing like whole pictures of something.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Because when you talk about dyslexia, a lot of people do focus on the negatives and not enough on the positives.
Yeah, so when I look back, I can't see so much of the negative stuff, besides being tired and almost like burn out myself, but more about, I always had it easy to see like the whole picture and imagine things in images and have a really clear like photo in my head or something. Like it's visual, it's easy for me. So it makes sense that I'm a photographer.
I was going to say that what a career to go into if that is something that really benefits you. That's cool. I mean, has that helped you in business? Because you listen to a lot of like mindset helpers and business coaches, and they do talk about how people are too focused on the details rather than looking at the broader picture.
Yeah.
I'm moving away from the mic, sorry. The broader picture in business. So, do you find that helps you?
Yeah, both helps me, but also kind of, helped me. But what I do is I have this picture of how I want my company to be, and I just do the steps to get there, but I misses all the details.
Yeah.
Kind of. So I do everything, but if I'm going to give an example. So I was like, okay, I want to be a team. I don't want to be this alone photographer that doing everything, because I'm really bad at stuff. So in my dreams, I would love to have an admin that works full time with me to do all the contracts and stuff. And then I want to have multiples of photographers and videographers in different parts of the world, because, traveling is not it could be difficult in the future. So I'm doing that, like just getting all the people, but I haven't done like the details. I haven't set up like a proper contract between me and the other photographers. I haven't like set up a timeline how to do stuff. You know, it's kind of chaotic in the in the everyday, but you know, I have a really clear vision. So something is really driving me further. But yeah, I just need people to help me with the dots, I guess.
Yeah. So we were at Way Up North 2018. I
think so.
Which feels like a lifetime ago. We've tried to come back, but we've had a wedding on or two weddings or the event gets moved and we just can't do it. So we will be back, I swear. But you gave a talk.
Yes.
And you also, now I'm pretty sure this was before your talk, that you had a podcast episode on the Way Up North podcast where you talked to Cole and you mentioned wanting to have a team and you know your goals that you know your aspirations. So it was actually really nice because I re-listened to that again, and it was so nice to hear your goals, and that now looking at you now that you've kind of reached those goals, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I don't know if I reached them, but you know, I'm coming, I'm getting them. I'm never done.
yeah. I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Plus listening to stuff back in 18 before the pandemic is strange.
Weird.
You know?
It's definitely good to see someone who, like, as you say, you've got a clear vision of where you want to be and you're working towards it and seeing that you're getting there. As you say, you don't feel like you're there yet, but it's good to see that you're working towards it.
I've heard that a lot, like people that like, how do you do, or how do you like I don't get it. It's just, you know, you want a photographer, just ask one. Like it's not. I think it's goes down to trusting people.
Yeah.
Like it's happened by a chance. It was actually Corona that started off this team building, because I had a wedding in Bodrum in Turkey, a Swedish couple, and I was like, sorry guys, like I can't do it because I was really afraid of being stuck in Turkey because I have then I had a 3-year-old daughter at home, so I can't be like stuck in some Corona issue down there. But if you feel that you trust me, I can search for another photographer that can come in my place, and I will edit and everything, and it will be our contract. And then I was like going to Way Up North, the group, the Facebook group. And I was like, okay, is there anyone that can do this wedding for me in Bodrum in 2 weeks? And then there was a girl from Switzerland, who I was like, okay, we have like kind of the same style, kind of the same vision. Perfect. You go there. And I also brought like a videographer in my place, and they did a wedding without me being there, and they just aced it. So I was like, oh, cool. You're going to work for me now.
Yes.
So I'm using them. So she's living there and I'm living here. So it's perfect.
Yeah. Very cool, very cool. Well, actually, one thing that also came to mind about the podcast was the fact that you admitted to Cole that you didn't like to travel. And I also do not like to travel. So, I mean, we don't do many destination weddings anymore. And our market is primarily people coming over and getting married in Scotland. So we're going to ride the popularity of the country.
Destination weddings, but in our country.
Yes, exactly.
I also have a lot of those in Sweden.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
So do you have like a popular place that people tend to come to get married in Sweden?
No. Unfortunately, it's not that big. Like, I live in Stockholm, so that's but it's more like, okay, we live in the United States, but we have some connection to like Sweden. We want to get married in Stockholm. And then I have like this big wedding in Stockholm, but it's nothing, it's not like people travel to Sweden, but we do have, I would love to see people doing things way up north, like in north in Sweden, because it's beautiful, and it but not yet. I don't think so.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. What was that experience like, giving a talk way up north, 2018?
Like, I was on nerve wreck about it, because but somehow, like, talking has been my thing because writing isn't. So it made it easier, but I was like really fast. I was like, okay, I need someone to help me. I can't do this by myself. So I knew this guy from way back that his work is inspiration talks, like that's what his living are. So I was like writing to him, what would you take to help me with this speech, like to do the writing part and to like help me out how to what to write and not to write. So it was really nice to have him. He was like, this is not you don't need that, and focus on that. And he made it really clear for me what people want to listen to and not want to listen to. So when people are going to talk for the first time, I always tell them to get help, because if you want to do a good job, you need help.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a skill, and it's probably a skill that I don't have. Even though I have a podcast, why am I doing a podcast if I don't have that skill? Anyway, we're going to find out a little bit more about you in a minute, but just to make an announcement, we are no longer recording live on Clubhouse. That was we took last year, and we did a lot of Clubhouse, but and Clubhouse is a great platform. It just didn't work for us. It didn't work really for our guests or the community that we've built here. So you can still join us on Patreon at patreon.com/perspective by Cinemate. It's a monthly subscription. You get all the extra content that we do, all the Q&As, any other bonus content that we do. You can also see the full podcast in video form if you want to see our beautiful faces. You don't have to. It's absolutely fine. They're not that beautiful. But you can sign up for as little as £1 and get all that extra content. Come and support us if you would like. Anyway, Greg. Obviously, I gave you a little bit of an introduction, but from your own mouth, who are you and what do you do?
Oh, okay. So my name is, and in Sweden, Karin Lundin. I'm 31 years old. I live with my husband, our 4-year-old daughter, and our Norwegian forest cat in Stockholm. And I work full-time as a wedding photographer. I have my team, and I nearly got burnt out. Later was diagnosed with dyslexia, but here I am. So that's kind of the wrap up situation.
Yeah. So going back, sort of before the almost burnout, how did your journey in photography start, and as a sort of business owner?
Oh, so like my dad took photos when I was a child. So he has always had an interest in photography. So that was like I think that's what was my way in. or to speak. It started with me bringing my camera to school when I was maybe 14. And I took a lot of photos of my classmates, and they called me the press photographer, the sneaky photographer or whatever. I have a lot of photos from my teens. And then I started, I was actually heading towards fashion photography. That was my main goal. So I studied to be a commercial photographer. Then I don't know, it's something about the commercial business or fashion business is a lot about networking, a lot about partying, a lot about knowing the right people and having a team and get known. And I don't know, I wanted to do it my own. Right then, I didn't want to have like a team. I didn't want to network. I just want to do stuff. So for a short period, I quit photography and started study sociology just for doing something else. And during that time, I started shooting weddings, like during the summer breaks.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually a model that was my first wedding customer. So. And then I realized like weddings are the perfect match between editorial or fashion shoot and the documentary style, the press photography style. And I had no art director that was telling me how stuff had to be and how I should do things,
Yeah, we often say that about sort of commercial video. It's like we, being wedding filmmakers, we're used to being so quick to run and gun and document things and set up for things quickly that when you go to commercial work and you've got, as you say, a creative director or a stylist or something, it just slows everything down. And we're like, oh man, we could do this so much quicker if it was just us.
Yeah, I know. It's a completely different job, like completely different.
Yeah.
It's not even, people say they want to go to editorial work, and I was like, do you know what it is?
There is a lot to be said for building the team of people who are specialists in each of their area. Like if someone's a specialist in lighting, and they can light a scene better than you could if you were to run a gun. But if someone was sort of thinking, oh, I'd like to transition the opposite way from you, sort of out of weddings into editorial, do you have any advice for them on how to sort of get into that network and industry?
Yeah, so first of all, just like kind of build up a nice portfolio with people or just, I want to do that photo. Just try to copy it. Just try to copy things you see and trying to learn from when you're copying other photographers. And then it's just about networking. So I would say if you like 22 or 21, it's perfect because like go out, have work, like after work with people. Oh, that's not a thing in England. After work is that a Swedish thing?
After work?
Yeah.
I think it could be because I'm not too sure what it is.
After work just means going to the pub.
This is actually a funny thing because it's an English word in Sweden that no one knows in English.
Oh, okay.
like because after work is when you go out for a beer after work.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. It doesn't really have a phrase over here. It's just you just go to the pub.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We have a phrase that's and it's in English. I don't know why. But go to a lot of meetups and partying, and try to, because the community is quite small in the town that you live. So when you realize that, you quickly realize what people that have influenced in the commercial world. So just try to get in the world and try to know what people you should talk to. I think that's the best way.
Yeah.
So what about the press side of your work before weddings? Was there any benefits you sort of learned from doing that aspect of stuff that's helping you now?
Yeah, so like the press photography was way back when I was like maybe 19, before I was heading to commercial photography. And it was mostly, you know, going out with a journalist on a scoop or wherever and, you know, interviewing people. And I'm going to try to take the photos that says what the interviewer wanted to say, you know. But I'm so curious as a person, so it didn't work out for me because I almost every time took over the interview, and I was like, oh, really? Why? How? And the journalists were like, oh, yeah, you know, I have a theme here going on. But then I actually also worked for a long time as a concert photographer. Did a lot of concerts in Stockholm.
Oh yeah.
Where you have free songs. It's in and out. You don't know what the light situation is gonna be. You just need to follow the artist, and you have 15 minutes, and that's it. And I love that.
Yeah, I can understand doing those kind of quick jobs. There's a lot of photographers over here that do like mini sessions, and I really love the idea of it. I don't know if it would really work for video because you kind of need that length to be able to tell a story, or I suppose it wouldn't be a story, it would just be a cool visual, here you go. But I don't know, I quite like working fast pace. It's funny because we just recently did a shoot for a humanist society over here, and they were kind of blown away by how fast we were working. And we actually, I mean, it's not really heard of that you finish a shoot early, especially in video, but we blasted through everything. It was great. So I love those little intense.
I'm also like that. I want things done quickly, and I want to see things quick. I don't know. It's some. I'm not a. Maybe it's the dyslexia. You don't want the details. It's not that. Whatever. Just the whole picture is the thing. You know. Let's make it happen quick.
Yes. No. Definitely. Actually, that's one thing. I'm being a video team. I'm so glad we don't really have Photoshop, because I would just I would have to Photoshop so much because I miss all the little details.
That's funny because I worked as a retoucher for 3 years. Like editing commercial photos in detail, but I was not good at the details, but I was really good at hitting the colors. So I kind of manage. Anyway, So what drives your work in weddings? And I ask that because, you know, there are some individuals who are, you know, they consider it art, and that's what drives them, the perfection in the image that they're trying to craft. Or there's other people who are more driven by, you know, the money, and there's nothing wrong with either way. I am just super interested to hear people's perspective on this art/business type balancing rope that we need to, as wedding photographers. So it's interesting because I haven't figured it out yet, because I'm not driving for like the art piece of weddings so much. I don't drive for money as much because I don't earn so much. I'm just putting a lot of money on other people right now, you know, like to build my, I don't know what I want to do. So I've been thinking a lot, you know, the last year, because I've listened to a lot of podcasts and you need to find your why. What is your why? And I have no idea. But you know, as long as I enjoying this everyday life, I guess it's good. You know, I can't see myself working with anything else. but I don't know what drives me actually. I need to figure it out, maybe.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with not knowing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't even know why I do this job. Genuinely,
Yeah.
I get so focused on making such a good film that
Exactly, and also I think maybe driving me to see how far I can go.
Mhm.
What I can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's problematic, maybe, but
who knows? I guess we'll find out.
yeah.
You
Exactly.
mentioned your vision of building a team and how you're working towards that.
Yeah.
And you've got people who are working for you in other parts of the world now. So how is it no longer being like a solo business founder? You have other people who are sort of in your team. How's that been?
So it's not so different because I'm solely in the way that I'm sitting by myself in the office area. Like,
Right, okay.
But it's more that when someone asks me if I'm available, I can always say yes.
Right. Yep.
I'm always available. Like I'm gonna fix it. Like any other company who says no to a client. Like, no, I can't. No, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Like what? Okay. So yeah, I just want to say yes to to everyone that wants us. Like, and I'm gonna fix it. Like we work it out.
Yeah.
That must be quite feel quite freeing to be able to be like, yeah, I'm always available. And but did it take a lot for you to get your head around like having to work it out?
Like I have to work out how to do it, or
no, like sort of you're always available, but then after somebody sort of says, okay, we want to book, then you're like, okay, now I have to problem solve and find someone who can do this wedding. Did that take a bit of change in your mindset?
Yeah, but I always kind of have a booking and I can see that they are like going to book me, or like I know that the money is not an issue. Okay, so then I ask the photographers I have if they're available, and a lot of times they are, because I don't work with other wedding photographers. The photographers I have is editorial photographers, so they don't are booked up in Saturdays.
Yeah. So a lot of people in the wedding industry have like a target number of bookings that they aim for.
Mm-hmm.
But with your approach of always being available, do you have a number that you sort of usually do each year or that you aim for?
No, it's more like I have a number for myself. I think my number for myself is 15 weddings a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And for the company, it depends, I guess, on the workload and how much I can manage because right now I'm alone in the admin part, so to speak. Like I'm the one that's gonna fix everything. So
yeah,
I guess it has a stop there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Before I need to find someone that helps me.
Yeah. Okay. So, what exactly do you create for your couples then? When they hire you, what do you deliver?
Not the fluffy answer, like the technical one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can give me fluff if you want, but
no, but I create a beautiful feeling. I don't know, but like the technical part, I would say they get a photographer, they can get a second photographer, they can get a videographer, and then we deliver kind of full day, half day thing. And you always say a number of photos, but it's actually more than like I get the photos that's good, and that's the one I deliver. I don't have like, okay, I stop there, but around 700 photos for a day, maybe.
Okay.
And then we do like this highlight video, and it's about 5 minutes. And then we do the whole ceremony as like one video, and all the speeches as one video.
So is it always photo and video?
No.
No, not always, but they can just add the video on or add the second shooter on. All right, okay. Yeah, that's cool. And so when a client goes to select these things, and we're still having this conversation with photographers, show your price, don't show your price, do packages, package 1, 2, 3. Do you do a la carte? Like, how do you offer these things to your clients?
Oh God, I'm changing that all the time. I'm like trying stuff out. What? Say we're gonna do this and try that on a client. So, that didn't work so good. Okay, we're gonna do this.
One day we will have the answer. I will get it, and I'll just tell everyone. That's how we should do it from now on. This is what's going to work, I promise.
That's not fun. You need to be curious and see what works, what sticks on people.
Only when you're like doing well, but if you're like trying stuff out and you're like, oh my God, this is never ending. Like 10 years down the line, you still don't know what you're doing. Like, oh God. There'll be someone out there going, oh yes, that's us. Shit.
Yeah, but I'm usually have like this, I have some sort of like 8 hours, 10 hours kind of thing. And then I have like add-ons, extra hours, this. But I've also tried to not send a price guide and say, okay, we are around here. Is that interesting? And they say yes. Okay, we have a Skype meeting, and then we talk about price. See what they. I know what I need to get. Like I know what, but I always say this is my price, but I want to discuss price with you. I don't have a issue discussing price. Like if it's a wedding that I feel like, okay, this is fun. Okay, then I can discuss a little bit more. If it's a wedding that I feel like, I don't know, don't feel so much for it, maybe it's okay, I'm a bit harsher with the prices, like this is it.
Yeah. Is that to discourage them or to incentivize yourself a little bit more?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I only ask because I was having this. Well, did I interject? I can't remember if I actually said any opinion, but I was watching this conversation unfold on Facebook, and they were talking about Hogmanay, New Year's Eve, and whether photographers charge extra or whether they don't, and should they or shouldn't they?
Because it's a premium date.
Because it's a premium date.
No, I don't have anything like that. I do in Sweden. We have something called Midsummer. It's in the summer, so that day I always have. You can't book me, but you can book other photographers, but you can't book me that day. I've always had that closed. It's more like that.
Is Midsummer like an actual date or an event, or is this a month?
Midsummer is around late June. It's when it's when the day is the brightest in Sweden. Okay. So the sun kind of doesn't go down.
Yeah.
It's way up north. It's more midnight sun, when you can see the sun just going aligned with it doesn't go down anyway. Yeah. But so now it's more a family gathering. You pick up a lot of flowers and eat good. And,
yeah, I think that's how I feel about Hogmanay.
Okay.
But I think we do charge extra, don't we? To be away from the family, it's going to cost you a little bit extra because although I really do love shooting weddings on that date because I'm not going to celebrate at the pub like we used to do. That sounds crazy to me, waiting in a queue for hours for a drink. That's all you ever do. Now I'd rather just be with the family, with the kids, and making it kind of special for them.
Yeah.
But it's a good party when you're shooting it, but it will cost you a little bit more, I'm afraid. But hey-oh, swings and roundabouts. Don't judge me, listeners. I know you're sitting there in your car listening, going, "That's shocking." Anyway, sorry, I'm getting carried away. Hello. At the beginning of the podcast, I introduced the fact that we've got two sponsors of the show, with Jack, which is Ashley Baxter, who funnily enough works in this very room, and 210co, which, if you're wondering, is Greg and I. That's our second business. That's right, we're sponsoring our own podcast. I don't know why. No, we do know why. We're looking for more members to join our creative space.
Yeah, if you want to get out of your home office and come and join some other friendly faces in Glasgow, it's quite a niche advert here because it's Glasgow specific. If you're visiting Glasgow or live nearby, you can come and work here. We've got permanent desks, we've got communal desks, hot desks, all the desks. I sound like one of those...
We've got a podcast desk too.
I sound like one of those ads, like, we've got this and this and this.
We've also got a kitchen with a fridge. It's got beers in it. It's got free beers. You can have beers for nothing.
Yeah, so you better move quick or else they'll be drunk.
They've been in there for so long.
They're going down quite fast, actually.
Are they?
Tom must be hammering them.
Talking about beers, I got you a present, Greg.
Oh.
Brewdog layer cake.
You're just giving me your Advent beer.
Yes. That's the
I got one of them.
That's the best thing about
two.
You got two. I mean, do you know why? Because you work in a co-working space and people give you stuff for free for no reason. I mean, funnily enough, I'm literally wearing a hoodie that I picked up because Tom was doing a shoot. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, nice hat, Greg. Did you get that from the band too?
Yeah.
That's right. Thanks, guys. Anyway, if you want to join us at 210co, what's the address, Greg?
We're on Washington Street in Glasgow.
That's right.
You can hit us up. Oh, that's horrible. On Instagram, 210co_, or just reach out to Cinemate on Instagram and we'll let you know the information.
That's right. And if you want to be a better sponsor of the podcast in future episodes, you can do. Just write to Cinemate on Instagram or Facebook. Cinemate Films. Cinemate Films on Facebook. Cinemate Films on Instagram. Let us know. That's absolutely fine. We'll be more professional when we do it to your brand, I promise. Anyway.
Back to the podcast.
So let's get a little bit fluffy with this next question. Mm-hmm. When you go to a wedding, what do you prioritize?
I prioritize finding this spot for my portraits that I have visionized in my head. Looking at him.
Honestly, he did warn me.
What is he doing?
Oh, why are you so moist?
Snoring. Is he sleeping?
No.
I'm sorry. No, it's when it comes to the ego part, it's all about I want to do the editorial part. Where can I do it? Mm-hmm. But then I also kind of just go around to see what the light is going to be kind of during the day and prepare myself for different situations. Mm-hmm. And also like the group photos, where are the big, where can I stand like 100 people to get a photo? Like that's the, I don't know, I hate that part, but you need to do it.
Yeah, that's one stress I don't envy photographers, and we see them as soon as they arrive at the venue, they're looking for
where's the spot.
Yeah, they're getting out their app. Where's the sun going to be? It's going to be over there. Yeah. Okay, here's some good foliage, or here's a nice wall that I can block out the sun. Or it's really funny. But
But do you have a specific approach to shooting a wedding?
like give me an example. What can it be? Kind of.
Well, I can talk. Well, from a video point, it would be when we get to the ceremony, we've got 3 cameras set up, and we're kind of there, and we just let things unfold. Same with the speeches. We're there to kind of document.
Oh yeah, okay. How I go into the wedding? Okay, so like 80% of my photos are taken with a 35 millimeters. It means it's a documentary lens, and that's the approach I will go for. I'm always in the crowd, not looking in, so to speak. I'm not out of the crowd and looking in. I'm always in the crowd. If people dancing, I will dance.
Yeah.
I also try to be friends with as much of the guests as possible, because those are the ones that didn't sign my contract for me being there, So it's really important that they feel it's okay to have a photographer there, because that's just a couple so I always say that to the couple, you have signed this contract with me for me being there, but the guest has not. So make sure they know I'm coming, and I'm gonna make sure they love me,
That's actually really, really funny that you mentioned that, because not many photographers have spoken to us about that. I mean, it's the same with video, and I can't even remember if it's in our contract. I just never think about that point of view.
Yeah. So, but it also, I don't post. I don't post as much photos of guests in my social media as well.
Yeah.
And not that I don't post photos of the kids. And that's easy for me to say, because my approach is editorial. It's difficult if your approach is candid photos or documentary. Then it's I can't just show photos of the couple. So that's a harder one, I guess. But for me, it's easier to just show photos of the couple and details, and it makes it also easy for me to feel like they can feel secure with me, not using the photos of their guests for different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wonder if that's more of a video issue that we need to think about, because people want to see your style, but they also want to see how you capture the drinks.
I always send the whole full gallery to all my clients.
Yeah.
So I send them maybe 3 or 4 full weddings, the gallery that my couples get. I send them to clients, and also to get them to know what hours they like being captured, because maybe they see that preparation wasn't that fun to look at, or I don't know, party wasn't that fun. So they know what kind of photos they will expect.
That's cool. That's cool. Do you have obviously I know you've got a videographer on your team. Do you have an approach for working alongside a filmmaker? Because that's another thing I quite often see is this photographer got in my shot. Look.
Yeah, okay. No, so kind of they getting around me than me getting around them. It's so they will move around me kind of because most of the time they have a longer lens than me, so they can be so it makes it easy. And then I just prepare them before the wedding what my vision is about this wedding. What do I see? Because I have such a clear what it's gonna look like. So that's also the hardest part with editing the video, because I'm really new to editing videos. I haven't done that before ever. So they are doing the main part of the editing stuff, but I have the vision. So I need to kind of tell them how to do the video without knowing how to actually do it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that's the hardest part right now, to kind of describe my vision to them so they understand.
At the same time, though, you're not going to be limited by technical restrictions, right? So when you think about a certain thing, you're not going to be you're not going to struggle with the logistics of how you'd get such a shot or whatever it may be. I think that could be quite freeing, because I think a lot of videographers, especially, are too focused on the tech and the standard kind of setup. And even for us, there was a very standard kind of setup, and it took us a little bit of time to realize, and this is for me because I edit the films, I make them. I'm like, I have to create a documentary edit, but I don't like the look of the documentary edit in the film as much. So we have a standard kind of long down the aisle and a wide down the aisle, but I'm roaming around to get the creative type shots that aren't really going to be used in the documentary angle as much, although I do use them. But it's certainly going to be used in the shorter highlights, the cinematic type edit. So in my mind, Greg and I are not only shooting with different lenses and different cameras, but we have different roles for what we are shooting for. So
cool. Technical, I'm always, it's like, maybe it's the dyslexic here again, but I've never been a technical person. I know I had a camera in high school that I used, and it was like a Nikon 90, maybe something. Whatever. And my friend wanted to borrow it, and I was like, yes, borrow it. And she was like the light meter is off. Like the light meter is broken. Well, what is a light meter? I know, this when you see so I had no idea. I can look at a chart and see if it's gonna be the perfect. So I was just, I had in my mind. So if I go out, it's gonna be 400 sec. Like I know.
Yeah. That's amazing, especially as a photographer. Yeah. Wow.
So technical, I've never been. And about video, they ask me a lot. I said, I don't know. You make it work. Just make it sound good. Make it look good, and then I don't know how you do it, but
making it sound good. That's the hard thing. That's the hard.
Yeah,
thing.
I know. Yeah, that's important. So I always if you don't get the sound, we will do it during if maybe we need a speech or something again, we just grab them and do it again.
Okay, yeah. Well, totally do it again. It's so funny. We don't often do it again. And what we capture on the day is kind of what we capture generally. But we had a couple in Skye, and it was just the windiest of days.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, everything, so they have the windshields. It's called a dead cat. Well, I'm pretty sure the big one's called a dead cat. Anyway, these things that stop the wind didn't work at all. The wind was just so aggressive. It was like blowing us off the cliff. And getting it into the computer and listening to it that night, I was like, oh man, this is unusable. We had one mic actually that was okay because the wind was blowing kind of against the person's back, so they were kind of a shield. But we had to contact the couple. We knew where they were staying. It was pretty close by. I said, hey, do you mind doing it again? Your vows anyway. You're doing your vows again. So we sat them by a window and we had very controlled, lovely, perfect sound. It was great.
Exactly.
But, oh man, doing it again. But yeah, for people out there, don't be scared to ask your clients to do it again if you have made a mistake.
Yeah, we actually had the wedding in Bodrum, Turkey. they didn't do any vows, so we didn't have any like speaking situation. And I was like, this video is going to be, we need something. And they lived in Stockholm, and the videographer lived in Stockholm also. So he just went to the house in Stockholm, and they just, write something down that they to each other, and like said it, because we needed something for the video.
And that's, I think, because we know a few people in cultures that they don't do speeches or they don't write vows. So you do kind of need to be a little bit more creative. Because audio is the kind of it's not solely the emotional driver, but what people say is so powerful. You could have a really badly shot wedding film and edit in a way that looks all right, but if your audio is bad, you've really fucked up. So definitely redo the audio if you leave and go but what was the reason for introducing a filmmaker into your team? Why did you want that video aspect?
First, it was like, okay, so you know me, I bring in people to help me a lot, like with things. So I brought in a marketing expert.
Okay.
I had him for 3 months, and he was looking at and he like did this, how it's going to look in the future, what do you think? And he was like, okay, you need to add video. It's just simple as that. This is how he didn't know anything about wedding because he comes from a search and like, okay, you need to have video. It's just, you need to have it. Like, to like work that thing now. They're gonna run through you. So I was like, okay, and then I was okay, I need to have video. There's a huge thing, how do I do that? And I find a video guy. I actually just wrote in a Facebook group, interviewed a lot of people, just brought them along and a couple of weddings for kind of nothing, just to see what we can get. And it turned out really good. So, and then I realized I loved video. So now I actually I want to edit video more than I want to edit photos. It's so fun. Like, I love to like play around with the cinematic feels and the music. Music for me is really important in my life. So to be able to work with music, I don't know. I'm so glad I have video in our company right now because it's so funny.
Yeah. What's your go-to kind of genres of music?
What do you call it? I do have epidemic sound.
All right. Okay. I just meant what you're listening to as a person.
No, my husband works at epidemic sound, so I need to say that. No, the genre. It's I can't remember the name of the genre. The amber. The kind of
ambient. Did you?
Ambient.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Very cool.
And also like cinematic music, I love.
What like Hans Zimmer?
Yeah. But just I play around a lot with music. I also love to watch like Fire and Ice.
Fire and Ice. What's Fire and Ice?
There's a huge team in like a wedding company.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
So, and they have a completely different vibe on their wedding. So I love to watch those wedding videos as well, just to see how they play around with music and but right now it's most ambient and get the feels up.
Yeah, cool.
Did you ever, when you started sort of getting other people to shoot for you, did you ever have any worries about how they might represent this the sort of studio name on the day? Do you have criteria that you sort of talk to them about beforehand?
Yeah, so I can get that people. I think that's the thing that stops people to get a team, because they're so insecure about their own name.
Yeah.
And I was when Mary and Ravan got to Turkey, the one that did it, and I saw what they produced there, was like, what? I don't need to worry about like, who am I? Everyone can do what I do. So I was kind of like losing my ego.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not a problem. I just need to trust people more. If they fuck up, it's on me, and I'm going to handle it.
Sometimes this is an awkward topic, but let's talk about money just for a little bit. For people out there considering wanting to put a team together, maybe they're not sure how much to charge each team member or what they charge their client. How do you work the money side of your business for people in your team?
So I know I've always had this kind of calculator that I brought from when I was a commercial. That was like, this is a fair amount of money per hour. And it's been around 150 euros per hour.
Yeah.
So this has been my okay. So can you feel also that's like a fair amount of money per hour?
Yeah.
So for me, when I do weddings, it's maybe, say it takes with the wedding 40 hours with all the admin, blah, blah, blah. Then I kind of know, okay, my price is going to be around 400 or 500 for a wedding. That's, then I get that fair amount of, so I use the same for my, for the ones that works for me. Say, they get paid for the hours they do. And they don't need to do, they don't need to do any admin. They don't need to do any editing. The videographers do, but they get paid for that hours as well. So it's just, you just realize it has to be quite expensive for it to go around. And that's what I mean when I say I can't say no to anyone. It doesn't mean I say yes to a lot of people, because it's not like everyone can afford that kind of price. But that's how I worked around, because I also realized early that if I don't pay them good, or they're gonna disappear really quick.
Yes. Exactly. Are you a sole trader or a limited company, or?
What
do you know?
Does that mean?
Probably a bit different in Sweden, I would guess.
Oh yeah, very good point. I don't even know the logistics over here. I'm not going to know.
It's to do with how your company's registered.
Okay, so I'm I in Sweden it's the bigger one, if you're gonna say so.
Okay.
It's called aktiebolag in Swedish, which means I'm employed of my own company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm not.
Yeah, because the reason I asked is, and it wasn't in the notes, so I didn't send you that question. So sorry for not preparing you. A lot of people are, I'm assuming they're sole traders, but they're probably thinking about the tax threshold, like how much money you can earn before having to pay the government a bigger sum of money, essentially. So I suppose to have a bigger team would mean that you probably want to be making more money substantially over here anyway.
Okay, so I don't employ, they don't work for me. They're freelancing for me. So they have their own companies. So I just that's No, and Sweden has, if I would about start paying their all of the social fees and stuff like that would not be. I would need a bigger company for that.
Yeah.
And more money. So in Sweden, like the taxes is 25%. So it's quite high.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you need to. I know that other countries, they don't have the high prices as Sweden photographers maybe have, but like kind of we need to have it because otherwise you can't. I think maybe we're not so many in Sweden. I think we maybe maximum 10 photographers that work with weddings full time.
Oh, really? Wow.
So that's a lot of photographers are also doing commercial or editorial stuff to survive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. All right. I'm just going to do another announcement for people who are not Patreons of our Patreon account. Patrons of our Patreon. I always butcher that, honestly. You can join us on Patreon at patreon.com/perspective by Cinemate. And you can subscribe to our content for as little as £1. And you can get us and stuff. I'm not very good at these announcements. Anyway.
Just do it, okay? Just pay them money.
Give some money. All right, pals. With Jack was designed from the ground up and is tailored specifically for creatives. Whether you provide a service like design, development or photography, or offer advice to clients, With Jack is for you. It's focused on creatives. Insurance shouldn't be complicated, so With Jack has made every step easy. You'll deal with one form and talk to one Jack as you sign up, get covered, and move on with your day. With Jack is all about bespoke insurance for creatives. Simple. That doesn't mean more forms or faff, it means less. It's not about endless features and stale service. It's about one solid policy and the personal touch. Bye-bye unnecessary fuss. Hello, creative friendly insurance. Be a confident creative. I remember on the podcast with Cole that you did ages ago, that you mentioned that you like to outsource a lot of your work, and you've kind of mentioned it a little bit here. You like to outsource a lot. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that, about why you do it and about how you do it?
Yeah, so what I want to do is purely the creative stuff. So for me, that's when it comes to editing photos, for me, it's the maybe doing 50 photos that I can just make the style, do like this is going to be the vibe of the weddings. Yep. Then I don't have so much for doing doing all like the 700 photos. That's repetitive. That's not funny for me. Like that, I don't want to do that. And also for the video part, I just want to do like the vision part, the creative part, to set the tone, to find music, to what tempo is going to be. Like that is my main goal. So everything else, if I can outsource it, I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. But during Corona, it was like, okay, I'm not going to outsource anything. I need to do it by myself.
Yeah. And that was kind of going to be my next kind of follow-up question, was like, how is that, how is this changed with a pandemic? Because
yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Incomings, I suppose, are a little bit lower. So you want to adjust your outgoings a little bit.
Exactly. It was like, okay, what have I signed up to? What kind of, all those kind of things you're like, oh, this could be good. That's all gone.
So what now do you outsource? Is it just the editing?
I don't outsource anything right now. The only thing I have is my stepmother, who is calling me every day at 1 and doing the emails with me, because that's my, she reads the email, so I don't need to read them, and then I say to her what to write, and she writes them and send them, and then she calls me every day, and so like that's been huge for me.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe it says a lot about me, but I thought you were going to say that your mother-in-law hassles you all the time. I was like, oh,
no, she's like, she also is a special teacher for dyslexic children.
Oh,
so
really? Oh, wow.
She's like the perfect combination for me to get help from, and she doesn't work, so she's just at home, and she call me from Zoom every day, and we just go through the emails. Yeah. Because before it could be like, it could take like a week or two before I answered like emails, and just get a huge anxiety about that kind of stuff.
Yes, indeed. Was it your mother-in-law that helped you discover that you were dyslexic?
No, it was my therapist when I was burning.
When you were burning down. Oh no.
When I was burning. She was like giving me all these books that she wanted me to read, and I was and then she gave me kind of a children's book, or like a teens book. Uh-huh. And I was like, I think I can find this on Netflix. I think it's the same story. I can just watch the TV series. Yeah. And she's like, no, it's not the same story. I need you to read it, because you're gonna have like this. And I was like, and it went some weeks. I said, have you read it? It's like, nah, I started, but I kind of fall asleep. And she was like, okay, so this is a problem. You shouldn't fall asleep during like reading a children's book. It shouldn't be that hard for you. Yeah. So she was the one that, okay, maybe she's dyslexic.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
Do you maybe don't view it as outsourcing, but when it comes to the films, do you do the creative sort of short film edit and leave the documentary edits like sermon speeches to the filmmaker? Do they do them?
So they do kind of everything right now, or right. What I like to say, we do it over Zoom, or over, we have some where we share screens, so I can, because they don't sit in my office, so I can show what I want, and I send them music and kind of telling them how to build at the highlight, and and then they send me when they do it, and then I like, okay, change that, and then I coloring a bit by myself, and they coloring a bit.
Yeah. So you take more of a director role then, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But is the team aspect of your business, you say that's a sort of vision you're still working towards, so do you still view that as a new sort of side of your business?
Yeah, I think it's going to be like that. I would love to have like a photographers around the world. So like if I get a inquiry from, I don't know, Australia, I don't need to go to Australia. They would be like, oh, it takes for a long time. Then I just can send other photographers there. Yeah, I think it's going to be also, environmentally wise, like the climate. I don't think you're going to travel so much in the future so fast that we do. Yeah. So finding a local photographers, I think is going to be more important for the couples in the future.
Yeah. What do you think people new to the industry struggle with the most?
Just first of all, getting the head about how the industry works. I guess it's like you need to find out how do people do contract? What do people like? How do payments? How does this ball of industry work? Like, how can I figure out? I guess that's a lot of questions marketing wise, how do you find couple? How, like, that's kind of struggling, I guess.
Yeah. And
the biggest question.
And the photographers and the videographers that you find, are they fairly new to the wedding industry in general, or have they maybe they have a couple of years under their belt?
No, not in weddings. They kind of new. The one I have in Stockholm with me, we actually studied to commercial photography together.
Yeah.
She does some weddings, but not at all like I do. So when I asked her to do weddings, it was like easy because I know her. But I try to find people that don't work in wedding business, but that's going to be a clash kind of thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
So obviously Simon was talking about the struggles of getting into the industry, but what about when you were building your team? What struggles did you face in sort of starting to set up with, okay, I'm going to be available for weddings worldwide?
I think just, trusting people for once, just letting that self, kind of nervous in the beginning, how it's going to work out. But also finding the right people and letting them know how I take photos and how I want things to be done. Just the communication is hard. Also because I don't write so much. So it's like trying to explain things. And also like the contract part, I haven't done it yet. So, but that's on my list to do.
How are you going to go about doing that?
So I'm going to find someone that can write.
Yeah, you see in quite a lot of Facebook groups, people asking for like templates or help with it. Well, none of us are lawyers, so it's quite it's a hard thing to kind of, well, it's a dry topic, so no one really wants to do it. Unless you like to do some dry things. No contracts.
Yeah. I actually have few of my friends are lawyers, so I always send. So the corona was like shitstorm is coming about the contracts.
Tell me about it. My goodness. So many armchair experts coming out of the woodwork going, your wording needs to be this. I'm like,
yes, exactly. It's like the whole Facebook. It was like, so then it was good to have my friends that actually like, what did you write here? And this doesn't mean that. And,
have you noticed any like big complaints or big issues that people have gotten wrong that your friends have maybe brought up?
No, I don't know. I don't actually, when they say and they change things in my contract, I was like, okay, right. I don't think about it so much. No, I don't. It's good.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, the contract is literally it's the definition of fine detail.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Both of us are bigger picture type people, so I'm the same. So,
I'm just trusting it.
Yeah, exactly. Just hoping it works whenever it needs to work. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember it was way back in probably the first year of business for us. Somebody came in and then they actually read our contract fully.
That's right.
And came back to us a few hours later and was like, your contract's quite heavily biased in your favor. We're like,
yes, we do.
I mean, okay.
Yeah. I've actually had some lawyers that was like the wedding couple that are lawyers. So when they like, okay, and I had one that I actually kind of knew, so he was really nice and was like, if I were you, I would maybe change this.
Oh man.
Thank you. Okay, I will do that. Can you change it for me? Yes, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing more awkward than having a potential client sit down and read in front of you your contract. You're like, holy shit, I don't think I've read my contract like you're reading my contract right now.
Exactly.
Like, I hope it's good.
I don't do that. They can read it by their own. I'm not doing that in front of them.
Oh man, yeah. So, all right. So when did you realize you wanted to expand your team? Because maybe it's on one of our listeners' mind, but they're not sure. Like, when did you know?
I thought it was quite a natural step, I was getting a lot of inquiries and was saying no to a lot. Like, this is not, why do I say no? Like, that's not a business plan. So, and I was like seeing all this, not in Sweden. I think I'm quite alone being like this team. But I'm seeing it in Australia and United States, like that's really, really common. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I ask, always asking other people how to do stuff. So I was asking a Australian photographer how she did it, what to think about, and
You've found someone who isn't in the wedding industry. I'm assuming they already have the skills to shoot a wedding, right?
Yeah.
Are you ever worried that they're going to leave you, like they're going to just be like, oh my goodness, what have I been doing? Weddings are amazing. And they're just going to, bye, see you later, and start up. Is that a worry of yours?
Of course, like my first videographer is probably not going to working for me more because he's doing so good in the wedding industry by himself. Okay. But that's like, I don't know. I just need to have that in my mind that I maybe can't keep them forever. That's, I guess that's all companies has this problem, people moving on.
Yeah. And do you have a system in place that is going to make it easy for you to transition to another shooter or to find someone else new?
It's so new right now, so I haven't been like, but because I trust people, I have a few photographers already that I'm thinking of. If I get an inquiry and all my photographers are booked, I was like, okay, maybe I can talk to her because I talked to them before a bit about the setup, and also commercial photographers, and then a lot of commercial photographers do maybe 2 weddings a year because they have friends or whatever. So they've done weddings they can show me, and they all, I will just find them.
When somebody's either shooting under your sort of name of a wedding fully themselves under your name, or if they're second shooting alongside you at a wedding, do you allow them to use these images for like their advertising on Instagram or anything?
Kind of. Like they can't take like every photos. They often asks about maybe 10 photos that they like from my editing. So they have to use my photos with my editing.
Right.
And if they post on social media, it always says associate photographer for and linked to my page. Yep. So that's kind of the deal.
Yeah.
Because I worked that way with when I did retouch. Of course, I wanted to show up the photos as a retoucher.
Yeah.
And then I just said retoucher for photographer and added the name of them.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Is that a piece of advice that you would suggest to anyone who's second shooting for people, is to ask these questions of, can I use these, or is there any other etiquette that a second shooter should have when they're working for someone?
Just ask. Just have the communication with the photographer. If they say no, just respect that. That's their decision. But ask before you shoot, so you don't like are thinking that you can use all these photos for your own marketing when you maybe can't, or ask if you just can use one or two, like for the social media.
Yeah. Okay.
But also a thing, they can't add any of the clients or the brands or the venues.
Right. Okay.
So because if they start to tag all the vendors and the vendors don't know which one they're gonna tag.
Yeah.
What photographer?
Avoids the confusion.
Yeah, exactly. No, so that's maybe a thing to have in mind as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough. So you're shooting a wedding on the day with a second photographer, or no?
No.
Oh, so you're always shooting by yourself?
Yes.
Right. Okay. And is that the same when your associates are shooting a wedding? Do they ever have a second?
Not at the moment, no. But maybe it will maybe change. I feel like I need a second, so I'm gonna get a second for next year. I already booked weddings where I said I'm gonna have a second, so that's gonna work out. But that's really big weddings. I also would love to be able to do more creative stuff during the wedding day when someone else can focus on maybe the mingling part or the dinner.
Yeah. So what are the creative parts to you? Because I know some photographers who love shooting details, and they get very creative with it. And I wouldn't consider that a creative part.
Details. You know what I mean? Details.
Yeah,
not the whole picture.
That's how I view them. But some people put a lot of effort into it. So what is a creative part for you?
I love details for my social media because it works really good in like visuals, but I can't shoot them. I'm quite bad at it actually.
Yeah.
So I would love to have a second that's really good at details.
Yeah.
I can do that. But I would say, just having time to be in a room and have time to find the light. It goes so fast. It would be so nice if I had someone that I know is shooting and I can be like, where is the light? Like, how can I find the best spot in this room?
Yeah.
And then sit there and see what happens. Like, and also have time to find good locations for editorial, the portraits. And try out things, try flash during the day. What happens? How does it look like? Just be able to breathe slowly and think.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And see if you can come up with some creative stuff during the day.
Yeah. How do you shoot a wedding? Do you? I mean, you mentioned the flash. Do you use a flash during the day? I know you said you'd want to, but have you tried it or?
I haven't done that. Like, I always just use the flash for the dance part.
Yep.
Otherwise, I just go high on ISO. But I'm feeling that this new style, I would try out to have flash during the day for a more editorial style.
So you mentioned style. Are you going through a change?
Always do.
You always do,
aren't we? Always evolving.
People that says that have like, I have a style that I'm working on for years. So like, good for you. I've changed style maybe 15 times, but I've gone from doing a lot of in the woods, that kind of portraits, and now I'm like all for city weddings, marbles,
Okay. So it's more like a location aesthetic rather than a shooting style.
Yeah.
Or do they or do they go hand in hand?
No, I don't think you can do the flashy thing in a countryside. It's not going to fit as like aesthetic. I don't know. But I know that people don't appreciate this kind of that you change styles. But it's like, the why we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have fun. It's my main, to have fun during the day. And if I want to change stuff, it's my company. Like I can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't
try
own
something.
You don't own an explanation for anything you do to anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think a lot of people are too scared of trying something new.
Yeah.
With their client. I mean, even I went through this stage. Maybe 7 years ago, I was petrified to actually change the style of our films because the style was the style at the time, and it was I was very scared to be like, oh, what happens if we don't get any more bookings because I've changed this so much? And
I think also as wedding sort of industry people, you get ingrained in it yourself. You're like, people will expect my work to look like this, but people aren't sitting looking at your website and analyzing every film. So if it changes, they're not going to notice.
True.
No, and I also kind of follow trends. It's because the couples are just getting married once, and they kind of want the style that's today, then I can do the style that was like 5 years ago then. Now no one gonna book me. Wedding couples are so trendy sensitive, so and I can see the city marble thing hitting hard, so I'm going for it.
Awesome. All right, that's cool. Are you pretty good at spotting trends and going after them? Yeah. Cool. Where do you look for trends? Do you just look at published weddings in magazines, or do you look at the American market or Australian market?
Australian market a lot.
Okay.
But also American market because I know Sweden is gonna be a bit behind. So if I do what they do now, then I'm gonna be trendy.
Yeah. I feel like that with Scotland as well. I always feel that Scotland's a little bit behind.
Yeah.
And even if you go a little bit further north in Scotland, I don't know if there is a set style apart from like in hotels, just full of tartan and wood. Yeah. Which is fine. Yeah. I like a good tartan, but my goodness. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Where can people find you online?
Oh, just search on me now. it's Karin Lundin, and it's my name all over the place. So I guess you find me on Instagram and Facebook. That's it, I guess. Yeah, and my webpage.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Listeners, give our guest a listen. Give her a watch. Give her a follow. Support her. Support all your creative industries. You can find us at cinematefilms.co.uk, on Instagram, on Facebook, at /cinematefilms. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, you can join us on Patreon, like I have mentioned several times on this podcast. I apologize for that. But you can support the podcast there. For the price of a coffee every month, you'll get access to the Q&As and any more bonus content that we put there. If you don't have any money to give, that's absolutely fine. You can hit that subscribe button and get your usual podcast for free. Maybe just leave us a review and maybe we'll give you a shout out. However,
in the meantime,
enjoy your life.